Billy Stark's intro.
I missed it. I failed you. Sorry.
You're jamming, baby.
I was like, this music. I forget how good our music is, and then we're here.
Right? You get lost in the music. Hi, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of the Grapple Gurus Live. This is the BC WrestlePod, somewhat weekly, monthly, like however long the pay-per-view schedule for each month tends to be. This is your live recap and review of any and every single PPV, PLE that any of the wrestling companies that we review here at BC WrestlePod happen to have. And tonight we are reviewing AEW Dynasty, the inaugural AEW Dynasty, as this is the first in its, now probably going to be a staple moving forward. I am El Jefe around these parts, the boss man, the grand poobah, the face that somewhat runs the place, if you will, Mikey. And I am joined tonight by two of my lovely AEW co-hosts. First and foremost, you just saw this man and I complete a very, very long 3-hour block of AEW television not too long ago. And now he is back to review Dynasty. El Buntador the second, Adolfo, my friend. It is nice to see you again.
Saludos, programas, and welcome. I'm excited to talk about this AEW Dynasty pay-per-view. It was good.
Oh, I am so excited to talk about this because this, for the most part, it was good. We're going to get into the one blemish that I had, but I have some fun stuff planned for that. Of course, if it wasn't obvious, Adolfo here reviews Collision and Rampage with me. We are the Rampage team where all the fun stuff tends to happen. And apparently, pregnancy announcements now are on Rampage, so that's a thing. Congratulations to Cool Hand, Angelo Parker,
congratulations, yes.
Woo. The new couple announced their pregnancy on Rampage this past week.
Wow,
so, super fantastic. And then, of course, rounding out the trio for tonight, you can find him all over the AEW Dynamite review with myself and our other co-host JVL over on Just Our Three Gents. You adamantly know him as the Professor John. Thank you for being here tonight. We got lots to talk about.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm excited to review this. I was telling everyone that I was grading papers and writing up a final with Dynasty next to me because I just had no time, and that's how it slotted out. But there were a few times where Dynasty won, and it took me hours to get my work done. So, very interesting. I don't know if I'm as polarized as the internet is, which is, fair to say, because the internet is, that wretched hive of scum and villainy. I think the internet's a little harsh on certain things it doesn't need to be, but we'll talk about that, I'm sure. And I think you exactly know where I'm going for some of that stuff. But this was fun. I enjoyed it.
I'm super excited. Unfortunately, our fourth co-host, JVL, could not be here tonight. He had other things that he needed to take care of, but you can catch him later this week on Dynamite. It's going to be a fantastic time. So, JVL, we love you. We miss you. And you are with us in spirit because we will do all the smack talking for you when it comes to certain things.
Clarify, he's not dead. He's
not dead. He's still with us. He had some important things to take care of with the Maker. So he'll be back someday, but not.
He's fighting with the wrestling gods right now.
Yeah.
Alive.
That seems to be most of us. Yeah.
Lightning struck his house again.
Because you can't talk about Tony Khan or else it's like you have no chance.
Speaking of Tony Khan, we are here to review AEW Dynasty. So before we dig into this, I want to express that the three of us are going to be going through both 0 Hour and the main card for AEW Dynasty. And as with anything in professional wrestling, everyone has a different opinion. We might agree on some stuff. We may disagree. However, given the last couple of weeks, the internet has been kind of a weird place when it comes to having civil conversations. Spoiler alert, there really hasn't been any. But
the internet's always been a horrible place for civil.
It really has been.
Sort of so, the wrestling, yeah.
Here
I can't believe you used purple for the Dynasty logo.
How dare you?
How
dare I? So what I'm going to do is before we get started, I'm going to put a blanket statement out there because reasons, and we do our part to better everything.
You have the thing, right? Yeah.
Oh, hold up, it's not showing up on my end. There we go. Ah! Important notice. We're thrilled to invite you and dive into the world of wrestling with us at BC WrestlePod. Your opinions and insights are what make our wrestling community vibrant and diverse. Whether you are a longtime fan or new to the scene, your perspective is valuable. However, when sharing thoughts or commenting, let's remember to keep the conversation respectful and supportive. Wrestling is a passion we all share, and it's in our spirited discussions that we learn and grow together. So, let's celebrate our favorite moments, discuss the incredible matches, and maybe even debate the outcomes with kindness and respect. If you are found being disrespectful in this live chat, or your comments are disrespectful on the playback or the edited review coming out later this week, you will be blocked, banned, bamboozled, sayonara, adios, good day, you lose, you get nothing. That has been your warning. Welcome to my set.
Mikey will go full Willy Wonka on you. You get nothing. Good day. Goodness.
Now that we've gotten that all out of the way, let's talk about why we're here, gentlemen. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, it's so pretty.
Always with the images and the production value. Very well done.
I know. However, I did notice that Christian Cage still has the TNT title on that. It's not Adam Copeland.
No, the funny thing is when Dynasty got announced, I think Copeland was still champion. So yeah,
Christian Cage. No, you're right. Christian Cage.
Oh yeah, Christian Cage is still champion.
And then Eddie has all three has one,
Yep.
2, 3 there.
Yep.
There's a lot of people that are no longer champions by the end of tonight, which we will discuss. But we are here to review AEW Dynasty. They went with the gold and the purple, which is always a beautiful combination of colors. But we are going to start with 0 Hour, and we opened up our 0 Hour. Oh, I love this little graphic. 0 Hour. We started off with the hottest feud that came out only 24 hours before the pay-per-view. Trent Beretta versus Matt Sydal. So the way that this feud was built was literally Trent Beretta threw a chair at Matt Sydal, and thus that is why we have this match.
And let's be real, that chair shot looked like it hurt a lot.
Oh my gosh, that was a crazy chair shot. He just full on yeet to Matt Sydal.
Gross.
This was a week of chair shots everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to be honest. I only saw half of this on the 0 Hour. By the time I jumped in, it was like, oh, I'm rushing. So I'm rushing from place to place to get to here. And I was really interested to see both of them. So it's a shame that I missed it. But the second half of it I saw looked very interesting. I don't know what I missed.
Adolfo, did you feel that it kind of ended weirdly?
Yeah. So, as far as wrestling matches go, it was good. They both Trent and Matt, they put on a good show. Matt wasn't as high flying as he normally was. I'm not 100% sure if that was Trent Beretta kind of, countering his high flying offense, or if it was, Matt Sydal is just like, fuck it, I don't want to. Are we in enough time?
We're 12 minutes in.
Woohoo! Okay. Or if Matt Sydal was just like, meh, I'm not gonna go top rope on this. But it was an enjoyable match. Ending was weird as all get up, because then Trent started, he got another chair and was gonna beat Matt with the chair, and then Chuck comes in and Trent goes out, and I thought that we were gonna get some sort of story building with that, because then Orange Cassidy comes out, and Trent is on the ramp in between Orange Cassidy, who's at the top of the ramp, and Matt Sydal and Chuck, who's in the ring, right? So I thought there was going to be some sort of furthering of this story, maybe Trent getting the mic and telling Orange Cassidy and Chuck to piss off. and maybe why, but that didn't happen. Trent just kind of like sneaked into the tunnel and was just like, curse you, Orange Cassidy, I'll get you next time. I'm like,
just make his voice deeper. It's like, I'll get you, gadget.
right, yeah. I was like, so when the ending happened, and then it flowed into Orange Cassidy's match, but like I sat there and I looked at Alice and I was like, did I miss something? So
No, you necessarily didn't miss anything. Like I said at the top of this feud literally happened the night before on Collision, which was really weird to happen. Of course,
no,
you know.
I mean I get that between Matt Sydal and Trent Beretta, but like Matt Sydal has been wrestling within that circle, that Orange Cassidy best friends circle for a little bit. I mean, we have had some rampages where they have done 6-man tags together or what have you. So yeah, it was just weird. It was weird.
It was. Unfortunately, Matt Sydal falls upon the curse where the hometown boy does not get the win. So Trent Beretta picks up the victory, which then leads us into our second match on 0 Hour. And my personal favorite, Orange Cassidy and Katsuyori Shibata taking on Shane Taylor Promotions, which is Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty in this bout with Anthony
your favorite
Ogogo
for the night or for 0 Hour?
0 Hour. Oh, no, this was totally my match of the entire. No, of course.
I was like, they nailed it in 0 Hour for you? Wow.
This is my favorite 0 Hour match of the 3 that we got.
Sure.
But that's because all 4 of these individuals were great. It's nice to see chaos in the building. So Orange Cassidy and Shibata are in the chaos faction in New Japan. So it's nice to see that. Yo, Shane Taylor was out here punching fools left and right. It was fantastic to watch.
Yeah, it was.
They were hitting hard.
Yeah.
There's some shots here. I was trying to queue up one, but I was like, oh, he's dead. But
yeah,
I'm not gonna be able to find it in time.
I really quick. I loved the juxtaposition of Orange Cassidy and Shibata, because like Shibata would just come in and would just be like, bah! Right, and then Orange Cassidy comes in, he's just like, it was good. It was really entertaining to me. Really entertaining.
It's quite literally 2 of the like extreme end of the spectrum in style and grace and everything. But then for some reason you see them together and go, oh, that's friggin' perfect. We were talking about that on Dynamite. Like, this is fun. It's so good. I like seeing Shane Taylor. I've gotten to know Shane Taylor Promotions and Lee Moriarty a little more over the last few weeks on Dynamite, because normally they haven't been there. They've been everywhere else but there. They were probably, I'm warming up to it. Yeah, this was probably the most sound match of 0 Hour. We'll talk about what happens next. There were a few spots in here that were really cool. I'm trying to find one that Shane Taylor did to Shibata, and I was like, oh my God, he killed him. But I can't remember where that was. I should have taken better notes. But again, I wasn't taking notes. I was watching the thing. So, like I said.
Yeah.
This is very, very fair. This was a very fun bout. Chaos reigns supreme, both figuratively and actuality, because Orange Cassidy and Katsuyori Shibata pick up the victory here. And I'm very interested to see what happens the next couple of weeks as we continue this thread with Orange Cassidy and Trent, and will Chucky T turn or not?
Yep. And sidebar. I'm interested to see what AEW is now going to do with Shane Taylor Productions, because they have been using them more in the mainstream outside of ROH.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see if they give him a little pushy push. That's it.
It seems like, they trusted him with a relatively important spot at 0 Hour for sure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And we've been seeing him more on Dynamite and across all the other promotions. I think that's great. Every match they've done has been good that I've seen. That doesn't make me suspicious like other folks. Every time I see the match, I wonder what I am intrigued. Yeah, I hope it is a bit of a push. I would give them something. They haven't gotten a lot of promo time on Dynamite. They've had a few like 10-second, 30-second, we're going to whip your ass promo things.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Yep.
As am I. So then, let's just get this over with. All right. So our third and final 0-hour match. This was a title for title / unification match in which we were combining the AEW Trios Championships with the ROH World 6-Man Tag Team Championships. The Acclaimed versus Bullet Club Gold. Where do I start? This went on longer than it should have, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. This was a Dynamite match. Right? Like I could have watched this Wednesday night. There wasn't anything super, super special or different to me. It seemed very calculated. There were a few cool spots in the middle for sure. There's something funny with the Gunn family wrestling. It's like they get in there with each other and they almost kind of forget where they are in space. I don't know. It felt very muted to me. It felt like I just wanted a little more out of it by the end. They went to the outside once or twice. There was some cool stuff in there too. But again, like Andrew, who's also here on Bi-Conics, and I were talking about it today, like you can give me 8 minutes of gold or 20 minutes bloated. I'm going to take the 8 minutes of gold every single time. And I do felt like there was a little bit of like, okay, let's take a breather. Okay, let's wait for this moment. Okay, let's wait for that. So I don't know.
I'm alone on my island because I enjoyed this match. I thought it was, admittedly, not the best from these 6 performers, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I loved the spots. I loved like the spot where Daddy Ass hugged who was it, Billy or
Colton.
yeah,
Oh,
Colton. Sorry. So when Daddy Ass, hugged Colton, and then, did the whole thing where like he was hugging him and then, said no, and then, did the thing.
Checked him in the face.
Yeah, teched him in the face. Switchblade Jay White to me always delivers. Even when he shouldn't deliver, he delivers, so he was a very entertaining part of that match. I do see where you could say that the that Max and Anthony, the Acclaimed, they did seem a little muted comparatively to other matches that they've been in.
Mhm.
So that was odd, but I enjoyed it, and I love the Acclaimed, and I was okay with the outcome, that the belts are unified.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's a bad match by any means. We can talk bad matches later.
Yeah.
We'll have some discussions.
Yeah.
I just felt like they all played it kind of safe, and this was a match that they've all kind of had before, so they weren't trying to wow me or shake the boat too much. Respect to all of them. It's not disrespectful or anything like that either. It's not like I'm going, you're crap, but I just felt like, hey, they gave us an 18-minute spot. Let's not hurt each other. Okay.
It did feel like they were a little worried
Because I've seen the Acclaim do crazy things out of nowhere, and I hope Switchblade gets some more run now. We've talked about how AEW is not using him effectively, and he needs way more to do. And hopefully, I mean, you're kind of stuck in a trio, fine, but I hope there's some more story, some more something. Our group text was filled with calls for Juice Robinson, right? Like, what is happening? Give us more to do. Yeah, it was you. Yeah.
Yep.
So I hope it seems like they wrote themselves out of a corner, which is great. And that's good for everybody. The thought of the Acclaimed going to face the Young Bucks or going to do something else tag team wise is appealing to me as well. Kind of step away from this, whatever we've been doing for 6 months with these 6. Yeah. I don't want to talk it to death. We got other things to talk to death.
Yep. We have a whole bunch of stuff. My final thoughts on this is that this match was okay. I didn't think it was inherently bad, but I'm glad that we're done with this. I am happy to see Bullet Club Gold walk away with the win because I feel that they had more to lose if they didn't win. Especially as you mentioned, Professor, with Jay White. So now they are the unified AEW Trios and ROH World 6-Man Tag Champs. So we are going to hopefully start seeing them more on AEW, defend those things as well as ROH. So we'll see what happens with all of that. That brings us to the end of 0 Hour. So now let's get into the main card of it all.
Graphic. Wow.
So good.
Fancy.
Fancy.
Wow.
Do you have other graphics, or is this the only one?
No, I got more. Trust me, it's gonna be great because we opened up with a banger.
Yeah. We go.
We opened up the main card of AEW Dynasty with an AEW Continental Championship match. The challenger in this case is the Bastard Pac, taking on the Rainmaker and our champion Kazuchika Okada. Yo, this match was so freaking good for me. I'm just like, yes, boys, yes.
I agree.
So good. This was a great match.
Yeah, admittedly I was worried because the crowd went nuts before they even did anything. So I was like, oh man, I hope this they deliver. But they did. They went above and beyond. Okada and Pac. Great characterization from Okada, especially in those little bits when he was in the middle of the ring and he looked like he was going to do the Rainmaker pose and he flipped everyone off.
So
and just like other little tidbits like that he did, really good. Pac, man, wow. Oh my god, wow. Yeah. They need to figure out something so that Pac is on my TV
right.
a lot.
He's since coming back from injury and time off, he's hit the ground running and has gone 100 miles an hour to do everything, or at least over on Dynamite. This was hard hitting. They were hitting way harder than I felt they need to for a few months. That 540 corkscrew, whatever that was that Pac does, is just gorgeous, and missed it and like does a face bump.
Yeah.
And the selling across the board last night was great.
Yes.
Because there were a lot of times I was like, oh, they're genuinely hurt, or I'm just totally buying it. But it's kind of, this match kicked that off, set the bar for, all right, we're selling this big.
Yep.
Everything looks like an injury. It looked like Okada blew out his shoulder at one point, but sold it really well. It looked like Pac blew out his groin once or twice, just sort of keeled over. I haven't seen anyone do. I'm trying to think of who else does tombstones, and I can't think of many tombstones I've seen outside of the obvious legendary ones.
Yeah, nowadays I know.
And Okada does it really safe.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see someone else using the tombstone and doing it so safe. And then Pac does one halfway, like just a few minutes later, does his own. Like, whoa, okay. So I thought it was a great match. I thought the storytelling was fun. I love that the crowd was hating Okada from the beginning. There were no real miscues. We had a pretty good build up to this one as well.
Yep.
For the most part, it was a little arbitrary, and we talked about this the first day. We were like, those two? Okay. But it's made more sense as time has gone on. But this was a great way to start. This is how you should start a PLE.
Yeah.
AEW still calls them pay-per-views.
It's a pay-per-view? I can call it a pay-per-view. This is how you start a pay-per-view.
Yes. AEW is, I think, one of the only companies that is still calling it a PPV. Everyone else is calling it a PLE. But again, this was a fantastic opener match. I love that we were denied the zoom-in spot from the Rainmakers, which was funny to watch. What I even enjoyed more is that we kind of hung around the ring after Okada left, and the crowd was, chanting Pac even in the loss.
Yeah.
That was that was a beautiful thing to watch.
Yep.
I'm so happy Pac is back.
Yep. Oh, and I do want to add one Alice note in here. It did look like Pac actually ate and drank water. He didn't look dehydrated.
We're gonna have a quippy one-liners all night. I don't know. Between Alice and Kier in the text thread, it was hilarious getting their commentary.
I do think some of those promos, she's probably onto something. He's like, I'm gonna not drink water for a day and then go do this promo.
Yeah, and then do this promo. Yeah, yep.
So it's crazy for sure. But what a way to open up Dynasty, which then leads us into our next match. Okay, this also was kind of a banger too. I really enjoyed this one. This was our first non-title match of the card. This is a 6-man tag with the Kung Fu Chicken Fighters, which is Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe. I cannot claim to fame that name. That comes from the internet. So thank you, internet. Taking on the House of Black, which is Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and their leader, Malachi Black. This was also a banger of a match. And I'm also going to just put this out there. Hey, House of Black, how we doing? Listen, we were having a great time last night in our text thread. It got out of hand. It was fantastic. But this match was actually really good, too. I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it was. You know, and it could have this was one of those matches that they could have phoned it in type situation, you know, because of the individuals that you have in this match, but they didn't. They went at it, and you know, they hit it hard. They told a great story. Everyone had their moment. They even had like those moments where everyone was laid out in the middle of the ring. That was really cool. You know, we got our Spooky Yuki, my favorite Spooky Yuki, where you know, we had the black mist sprayed and Adam Copeland. And how about that? Adam Copeland taking a pin.
Yeah.
How about that?
Adam has had a rough 2-3 weeks or so. It seems like since Adam cut that we all love wrestling, we're all fans promo.
Hang on,
he's kind of been in his head.
I want to bring this up from a watcher of ours. This match
was
the Waffle Short Beer the Bard, the Waffle House Line Cooks versus House of Black. Black was awesome. You know what, my friend? You are not wrong. Like, Copeland, Kingston, and Mark Briscoe do look like they work at Waffle House.
They do.
Oh my God, that's so accurate though.
Briscoe
jumping over the counter, grabbing a tray. What?
Briscoe
is the Waffle House paladin of that girl deflecting a chair.
Eddie looks like an extra from The Bear. If any of you have seen The Bear,
yes!
he totally could be.
Oh, I can't unsee it. Thank you, Short Beer the Bard. That is amazing.
That's good.
There was a great moment with Eddie and Brody going heads up and just chopping, which I thought was like, oh, that's big man meat doing man meat things right in the middle of the ring. I thought it was. There was a few scary moments. This is where we heard for the first time that the ropes are slippery. Who knows why the ropes were slippery? This week we come back to this. Looked like Eddie did that I'm okay thing and then got back up and then started wrestling again.
And I just gotta toss this out real quick. Mark Briscoe off a steel chair over the ring post and hitting Buddy. Like, that was ridiculous. Anytime I see a steel chair come out and it's not being used just as a weapon that they're gonna like try to jump off it, I personally cringe because the amount of times I've seen steel chairs just like when you try to do a move off them.
When you try to step, he vaulted over that and landed on Brody. And I love the cameraman caught Brody's expression as he's laying there. Brody's just looking up and blinking. He's like, "How did I get here?"
Mark Briscoe. This is going to show my demographic, so no one's going to understand this joke. Maybe just me and Adolfo. Every time Briscoe jumps, he looks like a character from old school NBA Jam. He's in a pose.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like even that frog splash thing. He reaches down and then comes back up with it. Like everything is just like a pixelated, here's a pose thing.
Yep.
Even the spin over the chair, like, what? How are you doing that? I don't like to say underrated because that's kind of arbitrary and subjective, and that's for historians, right? But I kind of think that Briscoe's incredibly underrated just for technique because the character speaks more. The notoriety speaks more than the work he does sometimes. And usually when you have such a strong characterization, if that's a wrong way, does that make sense though? I just feel like
it makes perfect sense.
He's so good.
was
If he
so
was suit
entertaining.
and tie heel, we'd be talking about,
Yeah.
oh my god, we all know how good he is.
Yeah, but
But
no,
since he's just this laissez-faire, toothless dude,
yeah, and when he would pull off like his chicken kung fu stuff, and he'd be like, "Bah!" that was great. That was
so good.
awesome. It was good. It was good.
This was a fun match. And then, as we alluded to earlier, too, Copeland gets pinned by Malachi Black after getting black misted in the face. And this is going to set up probably Malachi and Copeland for that championship, which I'm here for, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's going to be so fantastic. And hopefully that means Brody and Buddy can go on a tag team tear, as we'll talk about when we get to that match of, who our champions are now due to a certain somebody. But we'll talk about later. This was a fantastic match. I thought this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So now, I want to preface, hold up before we get started. Okay. All right. Well, now that we flashed it, let's get into this, because I have seen some not so nice comments on the internet about this next match. This is for the TBS Championship. We have our challenger in Willow Nightingale, one of my personal favorite homegirls in AEW right now, taking on the matriarch of the House of Black in Julia Hart, who is our TBS champion. This match went 8 minutes, and we discussed this before, and we even saw a little bit of here in this match. Julia was still probably only wrestling at maybe 70%.
So I don't know.
Have
there been any real reports on her condition or status or anything like that before I say what I'm about to say?
I couldn't find anything, but she was doing fine and she was doing okay. And then when we covered, what was it, Collision, or I think it was Rampage, Adolfo, that this happened when Layla Hirsch and Julia Hart had a match about 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
The match ended abruptly because it looked like Julia dazed and confused herself, or something happened.
Yep.
And JVL pointed this out in our group chat as she was making her entrance too. She wasn't walking 100% either. I haven't been able to find anything to, confirm that Julia was working injured, but you can tell she was still not at 100%.
So I say that because, and we talked about this on Dynamite too, when we saw her, she didn't get involved in anything on Dynamite, which was, I guess that was just a few days after that. This match, when you watch it, I watched it again, not a single shot to the head. Nothing. Willow took incredible care of Julia Hart, sold all these moves, took all the bumps, threw nothing but body shots, did nothing, anything that was up around the head. There was one choke, but that's safe because it's not jarring or anything like that. There's one power bomb, obviously, that's all on the back, and you can see Julia really throw her neck forward to make sure it's not her head. So it does look like Julia is definitely dealing with something, but did not wanted to drop the belt at least, right? Wanted to at least move this forward in some way. So now she can take time off and not hold anything up. It's unfortunate and it's sad. I think the internet has gone crazy because they are just picking this apart 100 different ways that it doesn't deserve. If you've been watching, kind of like how we've been watching, she's obviously injured, she's obviously hurt, and she's trying to do the work. She wants to be there. She does something. She throws Willow off the top at one point. Like, there's some great things in here that she did everything she could, and Willow took excellent care of her.
Yeah.
Lay off. Come on, folks.
Yeah. And if anything, it speaks to how good of workers these two are, and how good that they work together.
Yeah.
So to be able to pull that off. Thinking Julia's never been like a super fast wrestler. You know what I mean? She does do some high technical moves, but she's never like going crazy. Like luchador mania. You know what I mean?
Vikingo stuff. Yeah.
Right. She not to say that she's slow, but she's like a ring general.
Sure,
if you
she's
will.
calculated.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. She
Yes.
calculates. She goes in and she calculates. And out of this match, Willow, it does bring that luchador energy, even though she doesn't do luchador moves, but she does bring that type of really high intense type energy.
Mhm.
So like as a match, I totally saw where it did look like Julia wasn't at 100%, but kudos to them for not only going on and putting on this match, but putting on a good match. What is this a 5-star match? No, but this was a good match that told a good story leading into Willow getting the belt. And the beautiful thing, I don't pay attention to the yap on the internet, so
You're better for it. Good
whatever.
job.
But these two are young wrestlers,
Oh yeah.
like at the start of their career. Like, can you imagine 10 years from now where we see, Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale, part 3, and how intense that's going to be, or even like next year when we see them match up against each other. They're good, they're getting better, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for both of them. I enjoyed this match. I'm happy that Willow got the gold belt. The belt.
Of all the
time-
words to forget.
The belt of the championship, whatever the kids say these days.
And I don't want to. We got more things to talk about, but I feel like if this was two men doing a championship match for 8 minutes, and one of them had a head injury, and this was the end result, the internet would be saying, "Oh, look at how well he took care of him, and look at how good
totally.
this match was." And
Totally.
but the
Double
fact that it was
standard.
two women performers, there's this need to rip them like it's a lesser product, and it's
Rude.
it'll never go away. It's always that element's always going to be there. We're trying to weed it out, but it's really unfortunate
take a
that that's
while.
what they're going to jump on.
It is. But before we go to the next match, the other important thing that came out of this is that after the match, the CEO herself, Mercedes Moné, makes her way down. Her and Willow have an exchange in the ring. And Tony Khan makes it official, in the middle of this, stare off, that our first officially confirmed match for Double or Nothing is Willow versus Mercedes for the TBS Championship. And I am hyped because we're getting this rematch that they had earlier last year for the inaugural New Japan Strong Women's Championship. That match is going to be good.
Yeah.
My only concern is that I don't want Willow to lose it so soon. Because we've been building up this story and her finally getting this title for a year now. But, I could be wrong. They might actually let Willow keep it, but I'm also hoping that we see...
They'll go full
Mercedes
shenanigans and make
then.
it go from there, right? So we'll see.
I also want to see Mercedes wrestle before then, but that's neither here nor there. So let's move on. Okay, so hear me out, right? I actually enjoyed this match, except for when we got the appearance of the Vanilla Gorilla. But other than that,
yeah.
In our group chat, we were discussing this, full transparency, folks, and we were discussing a wrestler known as Dean Malenko. Dean Malenko, who was arguably one of the greatest technicians of all time in the ring, but was not a talker, didn't want to be a talker, wasn't charismatic, didn't want to be charismatic, just wanted to go wrestle people and tie people into pretzels, and has some of the greatest matches of the 90s ever, you could argue, particularly under the early WCW banner. With that in mind, I'm kind of reminded of that lineage watching this match. Is sort of like two folks that I want to care about, but don't. And they took some shots. Those knees they were landing on each other's were connecting.
Oh, good.
O'Reilly was throwing Muay Thai knees over Roderick's shoulder, like boom, like oh my god. And they were not. They have a history. They know each other. They've worked with each other a lot. So they O'Reilly sells way better than Roderick does. Absolutely. You know, O'Reilly's still kind of talking to the audience and actually has blood in his face. Roderick is still in T1000 mode after he's hurt. But as far as like, this is what wrestling looks like, I thought that, you know, yeah, like this was a good match. I wish there was anything that made me go, yeah, care. You know, it was missing that sort of, here's a reason to watch it thing.
Yeah.
Partly because I was waiting for Vanilla Gorilla, right? I was like, at some point, the Undisputed is going to show up. Oh, look, there you are.
Yeah, so this definitely suffered from lack of good focused buildup. You know, I get that Roderick
This was a 1 week
Kyle,
build.
yeah,
I guess so, right?
I get that. Was it 1 week? Wow, I didn't want to say it, but it was
a 1 week build
1 week
because
buildup.
we got this match. It was confirmed in the middle of Battle of the Belts that
Right.
you watched.
Okay, cool. So I'm not going crazy. Yeah, you know, it would have been. So I get it that that Roddy and Kyle have history, but I really wish that they would have built that on that history. So like it did have that emotional edge to it, because that was the only thing that was missing from this match to make it like a real like a real banger, dare I say, because this match was good. This match was really good.
Right.
And I don't like Roderick Strong, and in this match I liked Roderick Strong. I am so impressed by Kyle O'Reilly. This was my first real experience watching Kyle O'Reilly, and just seeing how the two of them like countered into a counter. Props for Kyle O'Reilly. And maybe I'm speaking out of turn. I'm again on my little island, right? But props to Kyle O'Reilly coming off as a submission wrestler, because he kept going for all these submission moves on Roddy that I haven't seen in ages, you know. And he just like transitioned into them so smoothly, like, yeah.
There's some great catch style sequences in the middle there, which are just really fun to see.
Yeah, totally. Bye, Ike. Everyone say bye, Ike. Wrong way, buddy. There you go. There you go. You got it.
As Adolfo looks over for the house hippo.
So yeah, the Undisputed Kingdom coming in was, I don't think it was needed at all. I don't think that Wardlow coming in was needed at all, because this Roddy, he won clean. You know,
it added to nothing.
So, yeah. And we already know that like that Wardlow is on the outs. That whole like thing where Adam Cole came out, you know, with Taven and that dude.
By Bennett.
Thank you. With Bennett and Taven, and they could have just come out all together and still, done that whole Adam Cole staring at Wardlow with daggers thing. Wardlow did not need to show up in the match, and he didn't do anything. And I feel bad, because it's like, it's like waste of Wardlow. So,
I mean, they're trying to give Adam Cole a little bit of the nudge, right? Like, you've been gone. Look, it's Adam Cole's back. Now he can do things. So fine. It sucks that the match ended up a means to ends of that. In retrospect. I wish I cared more about this match itself, but as a match, it was solid wrestling. Like, those were two pros doing stuff. I know O'Reilly's story now because they've shown that promo a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it, and I'm glad he's back. I'm glad he's working. I'm glad he's here. I hope they get a little bit more underneath him. I hope it's not more Undisputed. I hope we don't go back to the well and get him in here, stuck in here for this stuff. So we'll see. I'm not sure what you do with this whole Wardlow thing. I don't know. Nah.
Yeah. We'll see.
We shall see. But happy to see Cole's able to start walking around now, which is always fantastic, which is very nice. And I mean, this is literally just the MJF Wardlow storyline 2.0 because Cole is going to turn on Wardlow and then they're going to beat him up. And then, yeah, so we shall see. So I'm not going to intro anything else. I'm just going to let the picture sit for itself for a couple of moments.
Oh, yes. This match.
So before we talk about the match itself, I'm going to bury the lead and just tell us that Chris Jericho is your new FTW championship. And just for a moment of silence, I would like you all to go through me the journey of my reactions to how I felt with Jericho winning the belt. So all right. Now that we got that out,
I was
of the
ready
way,
for like 8 more. Like I was ready to sit here and watch memes for a while.
I felt that would have been a way too much. 3 is pretty good. All
I
right,
feel,
we have to do our due diligence. Let's just talk about this.
Yeah, I feel though that if the internet is gonna agree on anything, it's our feelings towards this match. So
What I
let's go ahead.
love about the internet right now, anyway, is that the internet was trying in the beginning of a lot of this Chris Jericho madness. It was kind of split down the middle, I would say, Mikey, where there were a lot of folks who were still like, but it's still Chris Jericho, and we got to wait for the whole story to come out.
They kept playing, Judas until they realized that nobody wants that.
They were like, still this, still that, right? And then over the weeks and months, it's waned, and then the matches have gotten a little more meh, and we're starting to say, yeah, we've been calling for this. By the way, AEW was not supposed to be the place where these older wrestlers go to die.
Yeah.
And that's what it's turning into.
Yeah.
And if anything shows you the cracks and what's wrong with AEW's booking, it's this match. What are you doing? And I don't want to give
this was a 16.5-minute match.
Yeah, and I don't want to give it more breath than it's worth. But Chris Jericho is taking these young careers and making us not care about them. And is doing it to Hook. Hook's way better than Hook's may or may never learn how to talk. And that's fine. You don't have to. He's still really good. I'm so confused and upset I don't even have articulate words. Adolfo, please.
Yeah, so number one, I heard some scuttlebutt that one of the reasons for Hook possibly dropping the FTW belt is that he might be going to NXT. Okay, fine. Not sure, and not why Chris Jericho? Why Chris Jericho? Why couldn't there's so many other people.
We could have gave it back to Swolverine himself, Brian Cage. I'm just putting it out there.
There's so many other talents that are going to be that are going to be in the game for a long time that could have benefited from this match, like as far as matches go, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, but it wasn't an FTW match though.
Yeah, no, and you're right, it wasn't. And yep, that's
Jericho. Yes. So Sharpbeard the Bard once again. Jericho really needs to retire. He slowed down so much. I fear he develops Ric Flair syndrome and won't hang up the boots until it's way too late.
I would agree. And I think there's some part of him that thinks he can save face a little bit, right? Where this sort of thing is like, yeah, I know I haven't been the best, but just give me one more match or give me one more contract or give me one more, whatever that is.
Right. But, I mean, who knows? That crowd was loud last night and he heard them.
They go home,
So, yeah.
Jericho. You could see him check the crowd a few times, like while
Yeah.
we're saying this.
Yep. So he might, but that's it. I'm good. I'm good talking about this.
Yeah, I'm tired of hardcore matches not being hardcore matches.
Yo, like oof.
If this is a falls count anywhere, let's go for it match. I don't need spray paint on a trash can to make me know we're in the street.
Yeah.
I don't need tables to tell me it's dangerous. If we're going full hardcore matches, put on a mask, grab a chainsaw, let's go into the street and let's cause some trouble. Like, what are we doing?
Yep.
It's dumb.
Yep.
As someone who likes the crazy, weird, hardcore shit. If the rumor is true and Hook got the call for WWE to go to NXT, which we kind of heard a few months back, we were wondering about this, right?
Yeah.
If that is true, I'm very excited for him. I'm very excited and hopeful for him.
Yes.
And I feel like, and I hope he has the blessing of everyone around him, and I hope he doesn't get grief. I don't know how. I would like to think they're not going to treat him differently because you got Taz there to regulate, but who knows? That makes me excited. We'll see. But we'll see.
Yep, we'll see. We'll see.
We shall see. All right, let's move on. Yep. So we leave this. Oh my gosh, let's go.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Look at
Yes.
First, I just want to appreciate that these two women are amazing. And I don't care what nobody says. I agree that Thunder was a little gassed with this, but these women went at it and they were stiff. But this is for the AEW Women's World Championship. This is timeless Toni Storm being accompanied to the ring by Luther the Butler and Mariah May, taking on La Mera Mera herself, Thunder Rosa. This is a title match because Thunder pinned Toni in a tag team match between her and Mariah versus Thunder and Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna made a somewhat of an appearance here. She didn't turn on this match like I thought she was, which, that's still coming down the pipeline. But Thunder's whole thing is she's getting the title back that she never truly lost because she didn't get pinned when she had to give up the title. Again, there was a whole weird situation where Toni became intern and then she became the real one during the first. It was a whole mess. This match was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to be completely honest. This was in my top 2 of the whole entire evening. Like, I love this match more than anything. I do agree with what JBL said in our group chat that towards the end, Thunder was getting a little gassed, but it makes a lot of sense because she's been out of the ring for almost a year and a half at this point. And in the promo package, we learned that there was a similar situation to certain other folks and other companies. We weren't sure if she was going to be able to come back into the ring at all.
Yeah. Before I start, I wanted to say, look at this incredible black and gray chest piece someone has to get someday. Just Thunder Rosa over here, and then the belt in the middle, and then Toni Storm on the other shoulder. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, short beard. 2 amazing
absolutely
on a banger match.
It was a banger of a match. I went back and watched this because I was knee deep in working on the work I had to do, but I picked this up again. I do agree, a little gas, a little hit, but that's me being nitpicky. There's some shots that they gave each other. That John Woo dropkick, I just call it John Woo dropkick because I don't know the fancy name of it, that she hits on Toni Storm. Toni Storm just absorbs all of it. Just good thud. Like, oh, God. That sort of not quite a massage, but back massage thing that Toni Storm was doing, which was, I think that was just for the feet people, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There was some cool catch moments in here too. Great match. Really fun. Again, I'm not taking notes because I'm watching the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think we needed anyone ringside. I don't think we needed any of that. I think it took away a little bit from these two. That's just me being picky. I kind of want to see if Thunder Rosa was going to wear the mask the whole time, but now I'm glad she didn't because I could hardly breathe. So I don't want to put anything else on. Great match. So much fun. And when the women do well, they get just enough credit. When the women do quote unquote poorly, they get crushed in a way.
Yeah.
And that standard is just rampant with all fans, but AEW fans particularly. And that's just to watch the differences in opinions. But this one was good, and here's why. It's like, well, hang on. You don't get both. Come on. I don't know. But great match.
Yeah, I loved this match. I respectfully disagree with the Deonna Purrazzo Mariah May fracas that happened outside. I actually thought that I thought that in this term that added not only to Tony and Thunder's match, but also it has now propelled and given Deonna Purrazzo a storyline now. That her and Mariah May are now, going to beef it up. Awesome. I was really happy also that that Mariah May did get shut down and taken out. That way it, because when that happened, the spotlight just went straight onto Tony and Thunder. You weren't worried about Luther or Mariah being that X factor for Tony to win, which it has happened before. That spotlight was straight on Thunder. And how about Thunder Rosa coming off the top turnbuckle into Luther and Tony, I think, with that corkscrew move. Yo,
Luther's taking bumps now.
That's
Luther's taking some shots.
That's what's up. Am I bummed that Thunder didn't get the title? Yes. Am I happy that Tony still retained the title? Yes. This is like when I walk into an all-you-can-eat buffet and there's either chocolate cake or cheesecake. I love both and will eat them accordingly. So it's like, so yeah. And the other internet scuttlebutting about the low blow nonsense. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's so goofy.
Would you please stop? Please stop. It's okay for a dude to get racked in the nuts, but it's not okay for a chick to get racked in the hoo-ha. Come on now.
Yeah.
And
if you've ever seen or watched a woman get rocked in the box, it looks much painful. So show some respect.
So everyone needs to calm down with all that, because it was
and
it was nonsense. I was like, that's the thing we're gonna critique this match on,
right?
Really?
Right? And this is the story that I have to tell about this, which I alluded to earlier today.
Oh, that's right. Story time.
I am part of a troupe and we do a stage combat show, right? And in the stage combat show, there is a fight where someone does get stomped in the nether regions, right? Recently, we have had females that have joined the group, and the first time where the female was in that fight and her junk got stepped on, people left the show, and people were like, "Oh, this is horrible. This is and now mind you, it is a male and a female that are fighting, but they're still it's still the same thing, right? So, sure. And this is where I'm going with this. Then it gets flipped, right? And the male gets stamped on the in the nards, right? And he reacts to it, and people are telling him, "Oh, stop crying. It can't hurt that bad." Like, what the F are we doing, people? Just like, let the art speak for itself. Like, are we? It's ridiculous that people's minds are still stuck in this whole like, oh, women need to be protected because no, they're not. Especially if they lace up their boots and they walk in that ring. Have you seen Japanese wrestling? Have you seen the shots that they take over? over there? Have you seen True Lucha Libre? Have you seen the shots that they take? Get over it, people.
Can we make a title screen that just says "Get Over It, People" and it's Adolfo's face, just bang, like just boom.
Low-key, we're going to include that into the other thing when we talk about these things. But you know what, Adolfo, that was perfectly said. I don't need to add much more. This was a phenomenal match. Tony is still our AEW Women's World Championship, and I'm excited to see where this leads for both Tony and Thunder, leading into Double or Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So we go from here. Woo, chow. Okay, here we go. Strap in, kids, because this was the match of the night.
Woo.
This
God
is
damn.
me the whole entire match. I'm like, oh my god, like
I do declare I got the vapors.
I got the vapors.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
My
so
goodness.
this was a non-title match. This was just a straight singles match. They introduced this thing as a dream match. This was
Can I just
Will
say this
Ospreay
real quick?
versus Brian Danielson. Go, Adolfo, go off.
Will Ospreay, stop it. Stop delivering 5-star bangers. Stop it. Oh my god.
So since Will Ospreay has been doing matches on Dynamite this year, and I've been
He has
keeping
not had a
tally,
single bad match.
every time, like my match of the year, go back and watch these matches thing.
It's all Will Ospreay.
There's I don't know, 7. 4 are Will, and as of yesterday, 5 of 8 are Will Ospreay.
Can I tell you guys a secret real quick? So obviously this was my match of the night. Like, I loved everything else, but this was my match of the night. I've come to find that a lot of my matches of the night within the last couple of months have always involved Will Ospreay, which is really fantastic. I'm going to be completely honest, you guys. Right now, this is currently probably going to be my match of the year, depending on how the rest of the year goes. Like, it was that great for me. And we're talking about Will, but you got to talk about Danielson in this match too, because
without a doubt.
Will has this thing where he makes everyone he's with better.
Yeah.
And to go with Brian Danielson, there's some
Danielson brought out things I haven't seen in forever.
They did some, because Ospreay could take it, and Ospreay could set him up for it. Like, there was some crazy things in here.
Yeah, that I am my favorite part of this match, though. My favorite part of this match was towards the end when these two have just tossed everything at each other, and they all do that, and they both do the thing where they sit in the corners and they stare at each other, and they just, like, you could see like in a video game, the energy bar is like going, you know, and then like, oh man, it was such a well put together match, such a well put together match.
Shout out to Will Ospreay. The neurodivergent person he is. We love to see that representation in wrestling. So good.
It felt cinematic to me. It felt like, you know, the end of the movie, right? The end of The Wrestler, where he knows if he does this move, his heart's going to blow out, or whatever battle Kill Bill sequence you want to have. I heard the Kill Bill 2 siren, that the whole time, just and like waiting for that. And and telling the story of, all right, whoever gets there first gets it.
Dude, and how? Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
It was anime stuff. It was cinematic. It was like, how do you?
It was almost as if someone was drawing these two fighting, because just the way that they countered out of counter, and then did a thing, and then counter, and then did a thing, and then stop, and then went in again, and then, you know, did a thing and counter, and then counter, and it all just flowed. It's almost as if you could put a symphony track over them, like cut the audience, cut all the ring noise, and just put a symphony over them wrestling, and it would just match. It was just, oh man, it was good. It was good. I heard some scuttlebutt that this might be Brian Danielson's retirement match. I hope it's not. And that's saying, for me, this was the match that made me like Brian Danielson. You know, I'm gonna be 100% honest, because a lot of his matches before, they were good, but for me and for what I like to see, they just seemed very not the style that I was looking for. But this was just art.
I think
This was
I think it's a
art.
testament to what the professor was saying too. Will tends to bring a lot out of his opponents because Will is also the wrestler, as again, Professor mentioned, that he could take the stiff shots and he can work that
Yeah.
more strong style of wrestling. Danielson has always been that way. He's been a kind of like hard-hitting wrestler. It's just that while he was in the other company, he had to adapt to their style.
Right.
Now, I will admit it also Danielson, depending on the opponent, you can bring out some really good stuff. But Danielson is fighting other opponents, but they normally can't take the hard hitting as much as someone like Ospreay, given the fact that Ospreay has been wrestling in New Japan, which is a lot of hard hitting, strong style stuff.
So those shin kicks that Bryan Danielson throws, not everyone's gonna want to absorb 100 of those.
No, and I think the
that
only
kick the teeth in thing. I've seen Bryan Danielson do it a few different ways. Sometimes he's stomping the neck. Sometimes he is getting a little bit of your chin in your face. Ospreay took all of those shots.
It was so great.
Everything.
I think the only other person that came close to being able to match that intensity was Okada when they had that match at Wrestle Kingdom earlier in this year. If you haven't seen that match, go watch it because it is an absolute banger. So good.
If you go back and watch Takeshita from maybe a month or two ago, like
that
rocking each other. Like that's also on my list of things to watch again, right? Throwing that hidden blade inches from the referee.
Yeah.
Whew. The camera shot, I don't know how close he was. You see it from another angle and you can't really tell. It looks safer than it was, but man.
But speaking of safe too, can we also shout out both of these men? Because Danielson has been the only person I've seen take the Tiger Driver so safely.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. Which, just as a clarification, it is official, at least as per Fightful Select, that Bryan Danielson was not really hurt. It
was for work.
Yeah, he was selling it. And a beautiful sell it was, because he fooled a lot of people. I do want to just toss this out, my gents, my peeps. Bryan Danielson, who has made statements that his time is drawing close to the end in the ring, where or who do you go from here as your last match? Because like this was just,
so there's there's 3 people that I would love to see do this, but obviously I think even though we got this match, the top of my list is obviously I think Ospreay receiving the torch from Danielson would be cred, as the kids say, to Ospreay, since he's going to still be in here, because Danielson's retiring at the end of the year. He stated that at the beginning of this year. The only other 2 people I can see, even though we would have to build to it, that I could see Mox, depending on how they want to do it. I can also see, I don't know how you would get him, but I also think Swerve would be a good choice too. That's just my personal bias, but I think Will is at the top of my list to get that torch as this generation's Danielson. Not to say that Danielson can't go, but Ospreay is going to be here for a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. And well, Danielson, we talked about this. He didn't want to retire with the belt. He wanted to make sure that he dropped that at the right time. He doesn't want to overstay his welcome, and he has said so much in other interviews, and we've talked about that. And I can't remember, Mike, if you were telling me or if this was a group chat thing, he's interested in the other end. He's interested in the backside. He's interested in creative. He's interested in talent. He's interested in training. Like that's what he would love to do instead.
Yep.
And what's kind of cool about that is now you have this ace in your pocket of Bryan Danielson. So if he returns, he's still fresh. He's still training. He's still doing whatever else, working with other wrestlers. He's not going to burn himself out and in 10 years become Sting, Jericho, Flair, or these other cases that we've seen. if this is the last match and he did it, it's the classiest way. We didn't need to go home. We
Yep.
didn't need a send off. I didn't need all my friends in the ring taking bumps for me. I didn't need anything. I did the match of the year to the guy who's idolized me, and I went out on an injury, so I'm still strong. We'll see what happens.
All right, yeah, no, I just want to toss,
No, you're not
toss it
wrong.
out for conversation. That
Yeah.
was all. No,
I-
yep, that's it.
This was a phenomenal match. And obviously, any match that was going to follow up this was going to be a tough time. But man, this was my match of the evening. So, so let's go into our semi-main event. This was for the vacated AEW World Tag Team Championship match. We got a ladder match between the EVPs, the Young Bucks, and FTR, otherwise known as FDR Bald and FDR Aggravated Assault. Otherwise, it's like Gun Charge
Love
and
that.
almost Burt Reynolds. Dax is almost Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool.
You know, I have to say, when it comes to ladder matches, I can't think of any possibilities that you could be more nuanced to it. This match had no right to be as entertaining and actually as great as it was, because not only did they incorporate the ladders, they just killed each other by wrestling as well, too. I actually was very impressed. I liked this match a lot.
I was
Well,
did anyone else forget? Who else forgot this was here?
I did not.
I did.
My
I took a
notebook
break
says
and went,
otherwise.
oh, okay,
I mean,
I'm coming
fair.
back for Samoa Joe and Swerve, and then turned around and went, oh, yeah. So
Fair. No, that's fair, especially after that.
Coming off of what we just saw.
coming off of Osprey Danielson, it's fair.
Right.
But I think from a producing standpoint, from a show standpoint, I think that this match was the best match to follow Osprey Danielson, and because of the gimmickness of the ladders, it gave people, because it not that it started slow, but there was a little bit of a buildup that you had, like a good 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes of a buildup until the first ladder gets put into the ring, until the first ladder gets set up so that people can kill each other on the ladders, and I think Simon Miller had commented on this. It gave people enough time to recharge after Osprey Danielson. I don't like the Young Bucks, but I will admit that they are good wrestlers. They do put on good matches. Time and time again, FTR, for as poor life choices as they make outside of the ring, when they're inside of the ring, they consistently put on good matches. So, Young Bucks, FTR, even though this was like part 3, part 4, whatever, it was going to be a good match. I did not expect it to be as good as a match as it was with the ladders, because the ladders in this match, to me, was the good balance of frosting and cake. Some people when they bake a cake, they put like tons of frosting on it, and you lose the cake in the frosting. Some people, they don't put enough frosting and it's too much cake, so you get gypped out on the frosting. This was that perfect balance of frosting and cake, that just, it made me, to steal the term, warm and fuzzy in my tum tum.
I love that analogy.
I agree. I want to watch this more closely because I was doing work at the time and kind of wrote this match off, which I shouldn't have. So I will admit that, being on the show promoting Dynasty. I will say that, yes, it did come off and look a lot better than I think it should have. It had no business being that good. Ladder matches are kind of a nuanced thing. Not everyone is good at them. Not everyone can sell them properly. And we've talked about this about other a recent ladder match on another promotion where it was sort of like, hey, all of a sudden you forgot how ladders work, or you forgot that, oh yeah, you have to open them to climb them. Oh no. So nothing absurd like that was there. There was one spot outside of the ring, which I thought was a little strange, where Wheeler ducks under the ladder, and then the Young Bucks go in to give chase, and all he does is kind of shove the ladder into them.
That was
Like,
kind of
boom.
awkward.
Gotcha. And it's like, oh wow, that hurt our fingers. It's like, what are you doing?
I mean,
So
they're
that-
the EVPs. Their hands are very,
I guess so. Their hands are gentle now.
gentle hands.
EVP. So that was one spot that kind of took me out of it. But there was some good shots and things in here that were fun.
Sure.
And I'm gonna give it another watch. I don't want to bag on it because it's not fair to. But I do agree with the sort of palate cleanser argument of like, this was a great thing to follow Ospreay Danielson. It's so different. It's what's the word? It kept that momentum going in a different way.
Yeah.
Right. It was sort of like,
Absolutely.
we are exciting for the wrestling we're watching, and now we're excited for the spectacle we're watching. So we're not burning it at both ends of the audience member.
You mentioned spectacle because we had a fan run in and tip over the ladder that Dax was on top of, and security came and grabbed him. And there was some dude in a devil mask, and when they unmasked him,
It was
who
Jack
was
Perry.
it?
It was Jack Perry.
The scapegoat.
There he is.
It was Jungle Boy.
You took the wind out of my sails, Duffo. I was leading up to this reveal of the picture. Now I'm trying to entertain people, and you ruined it. The scapegoat is back in AEW. Jack Perry.
Yeah.
And he threw up the hand symbol for the Bucks. So who knows? He might be aligning himself with the Elite, which would be an interesting thing.
He got a good pop. He got a good pop as he was being escorted out.
And he got it for not his work in the ring. He got it for everything surrounding the last few months. I like Jack Perry. I've missed Jack Perry. What are we doing with Jack Perry?
I mean, we're gonna have to find out as we go through this, because it seems that he's back in AEW after being he was in New Japan for all this time now, and so now he's back. So we shall see what happens.
Yeah, I don't want to add fuel to the fire in the whole situation involving Jack Perry. But I feel that it would be good storytelling now if the EVPs, they bring back Jack Perry, and then Tony Khan is like, but no, but the EVPs are like, but we are the EVPs. So yes, I feel that would that would be a good story. And now you have this interesting stable of the Young Bucks, Jack Perry, and the Rainmaker.
Yep.
Okada. So
blood and guts. And guts.
I think we're building. That's how you can build a heel faction.
Yeah,
Jack Perry deserves better than the Bucks.
I don't disagree.
Yeah,
no.
There's a part of me that, in saying that, where it's sort of Jack Perry kind of makes the Bucks more interesting.
Yeah, totally.
Right? I think Jack Perry could do it on his own for sure, because there's a lot to talk about with Jack Perry.
Yeah.
Well, at least we have him, because he's the only of the four pillars that's in this company, because the other three are gone elsewhere.
Then there's
like MJF is gone, Darby's hurt, Sammy Guevara is also very out of the story. So we shall see.
We'll see.
I'm in a noir movie all of a sudden. Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
I'm in Close Encounters
of the Third Kind.
Prof, that is like great lighting.
I know, right?
Kind of a cool.
Woof.
It's a good moment right now.
So, hey, when this goes into post, can we put some like soft, dramatic music behind the Prof?
I will try, because I gotta try, because I'm only one man and I can't do it all. But this next match didn't involve one man; it involved two, and this was our main event for AEW Dynasty, for the AEW World Championship. Challenger Swerve Strickland taking on Mimosa Joe, no mames, Samoa Joe. Look,
All right, I'm gonna tell you all my secret about this match.
what's
Um,
your secret?
I fell asleep
Oh
during
no.
the match.
What?
Not, and it wasn't because it was boring. It was because I was just so exhausted, and my body had hit that point.
Well, you
But
know what, Adolfo?
I
You
woke
get the
up at the
boot.
Did you kick him out for that?
I brought it back in. You get the boot.
I was about to say, I woke up at the important parts though.
I fell asleep. You're gone. Like, jeez. No chance.
We like
You-
to have
you
fun
are the weakest
here.
link. Goodbye.
Goodbye. We have fun here, but anyways, you woke up at the important part, so that was important. I have to say, I thought this was a really solid main event.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was going into this match. I didn't know what I was going to expect between these two. But man, Swerve is that dude. Joe is that dude. Like, so good.
Oh yeah.
This is a good main event.
I was scared that Joe was going to hit that muscle buster on concrete.
Woo!
Oh boy. Ooh, I mean, Swerve still got slammed on the concrete, so it was still utilized. But man, yeah, even after my secret being out, this was I think this was a great match to end the night. I'm going to spoil it and say that Swerve is your new AEW World Champion. And first thing I need to talk about though is Swerve coming out as Killmonger.
Oh
Not
my
Black
gosh.
Panther. Swerve coming out as Killmonger.
That
was-
whole thing was fresh.
Whew.
It was so clean.
Whew.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, loved it.
My
Loved
nerd,
it.
I had a nerdgasm. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
But Swerve being he deserved it. This match was really good. And if anything, this match shows that Joe doesn't need the belt to still be on our TVs and just wrecking people,
Sure.
because that, like, again, my own little island, but I'm excited to see who is now gonna incur the wrath of Samoa Joe coming off this. Because lest we forget, some words were exchanged between Samoa Joe and the Undisputed Kingdom. So, like, is he now, going to come to them? Who's he wrecking next? I'm excited.
Well, Samoa Joe had a problem with being used as a pawn by Adam Cole and all of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if we're going
Yeah.
Samoa Joe, Vanilla Gorilla, whew, that's just a sacrifice for Vanilla Gorilla, right? There's no way.
Yeah, dude. Let him run rampant through the Undisputed. I'm excited. I'm excited to see who Samoa Joe is going to just wreck now.
Yeah. I was pretty sure Samoa Joe was murdered on that flip off the turnbuckle face into the apron thing right at the end there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's a felony. Yeah, you're going to be gone for a while. That's a thing. You bought tickets to a murder. Great. They called a few shots. I wish I took notes on it. I didn't take notes because this was fun to watch. There's a few spots they called on the fly, which actually sold really, really well. Some of the catch sequences that you can kind of see them calling this and this. I'm not going to be a downer. This is a great match. I wanted a little more, and I don't know what was missing from this match. If it was more at stake or more at any moment you could lose, or more, there was something missing for me in this first half of it. It felt like it was a little, we're going to go through what we've worked on. I think the pacing kicked up. The second half of this, the last 8-9 minutes or so was really, really fun to watch. I picked wrong. I picked Samoa Joe because I didn't think they would drop it to Swerve because I was betting against the company, because I was like, they're probably not going to do the right thing. They're not gonna. They're probably gonna make Swerve wait even longer, even though Swerve has been over for, I don't know, a long time.
Yeah.
And we were calling for Swerve to get this title a while ago. right? Because they're even Samoa Joe stops a few times to listen to him talking about Swerve's house in the middle of the match. He's like, oh, okay. But it was a great match. It was solid. There's a few nitpicky things I have. I'm going to rewatch it before I throw it in my match of the year tank. But I'm happy for Swerve. I think it gives Samoa Joe something new to do, which I think he's been craving, right? Give him something else. Yeah.
I am so happy to see Swerve by the end of this pay-per-view hold that championship up. I was okay with being wrong because I had also picked Joe, but I was more so in the lines. It's like, all right, Swerve's not going to win this one, but Joe's going to lose it at Double or Nothing, where Swerve is going to pick it up. But no,
that's what we all thought, right? Like they're going to make him wait.
Yep.
But Swerve is your new AEW World Champion. He well deserved. I loved watching him get so emotional towards the end. You know, there's that one shot where he's on the steps and he's trying not to cry while holding the title. I'm a big Swerve fan. We all are here. I love Swerve. And Swerve has made history as AEW's first Black World Champion. And, going into this match too in interviews, his motivation to get to this point is Swerve Strickland has cited Kofi Mania as his inspiration to get this title, because also it took Kofi 11 years in WWE to finally become a world champion, which was nuts when we got that info when that all went down. So, Swerve, I'm super happy that you're champion. Now we can see matchups. Hangman Page is coming back for that title at some point. Hangman is going to step up to Swerve, and I am ready for it. But boys, that brings us to the end of Dynasty. We went through both 0 Hour and we went through the main card. Ooh, let's see this. All right. Joe taking the belt from Jericho would be great. Joe fits the FTW attitude, and to have him be a menace with a belt would be so fitting. Okay, that is an idea I can get behind, my friend.
Just a sacrifice to the gods at that point.
I will throw myself to the wrestling gods and be in servitude to them forever if that would happen. Oh, yes.
I absolutely agree. I think that would retire Jericho. I think Jericho would just get totally, I almost said it, trying not to get us demonetized.
You get
destroyed. There's no way. Samoa Joe's not doing this. Oh, look, a trash can. I put spray paint on it. No, Joe's going out there to rip skin off.
Nah, Joe literally is the walking embodiment of Nuck if you buck. Like these hands are rated E for everyone.
Yeah, there's Jericho. I'm sure Samoa Joe would take care of him, but they're not going out there to let's put on a good match. I'm going out there to hurt you. You were gonna feel.
Well, low key, I would kind of be here for it, but anyways, that's for.
I'm still here for it, but that's the end of Chris Jericho.
Alrighty. So as always, here on Grapple Gurus, the last thing we got to do is we got to rate this thing on out of 10 empanadas. We're gonna go Adolfo, then Professor, then I will give my rating last. So, Adolfo, on a scale of 10 empanadas, what do you give AEW's Dynasty, their inaugural Dynasty event?
Dear Internet, I only give AEW Dynasty 4 empanadas for using gold in the logo. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm just
Whereas when we used to review the other promotion together, where we had He Who Shall Not Be Named's member.
Hey guys,
like that needs to be our AEW internet character.
So here's the thing: when a woman gets hit in the box, she actually doesn't feel anything, so she doesn't have testicles. So this doesn't make any sense.
Oh my gosh!
Unbelievable.
Okay, so let's go.
Sorry,
8 empanadas. 8 empanadas. Next.
8 empanadas.
Next.
Professor.
8? Why 8? 8's a good number.
What? No. So, okay, fine. I will give you. I will now give you my dissertation as to why I'm giving this 8 empanadas. Yeah. No. It was. It was a good 3.5, 4 hours long. Kept me entertained the whole time. And even the bad matches were watchable matches, in my opinion. So yeah, like I would go back and I might even go back and rewatch the entirety of Dynasty. So there we go.
I agree in that when we get to end of the years and best pay-per-views and all that stuff, this is one that we got to go rewatch. Like this is going to be in the 12-month calendar of, oh yeah, let's look at this, all the stuff people did. I agree. Is it me or is it you, Mikey?
Mikey's muted. He's done.
Mikey, we can't hear you.
He's done with us.
I knew that. No, it's you, Professor. I'm going
It's me.
last.
Mikey's last. I think it's 8.5, and that's me being critical because part of me goes, it's a 9. It's great. There were no botches or ridiculous injuries. There was no. I mean, storylines could have been stronger. We talked about that, but that's me being nitpicky again. The right people won for the most part. Particularly Swerve for sure. We had a 6-man tag that wasn't boring. Normally 6-man tags go off the rails. That's what I was going to say. Looking at the 6-man tag we had in Dynasty compared to 6-man tag for 0 Hour, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. There was something more at stake in watching that and everything else. That's just me being a theater person. Yeah, so I'm in that 8.5 place. Easily, Ospreay Danielson is in match of the year, at least my top 2 or 3 picks as of right now. I'm sure that's going to shift, but the fact that there's a match of the year in this is huge. I've heard some folks on the internet say that this 1 4-hour block was possibly better than the whole 4-day block of WWE's WrestleMania. Like this 1 4-hour up against any collection of 4 hours there tops it.
Dear internet,
yes.
Here's my thought. So, as someone who recently,
Sorry, this is going to be a bit. That's not going to.
It's going to be. I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic.
I
don't disagree with you, but I say best. You know what? I'm gonna wait till it's my turn.
But I'm thinking, if you compare this to night 1 WrestleMania, you kind of go, ooh, I don't know. Well, maybe it does edge. And then you look at night 2 and you go, well, this. I love me Cody. I love me Swerve. But that's, fantasy football talk. 8.5, solid 8.5. It'd be a 9 if that FTW was an FTW. If that was an FTW match with, light bulbs, tacks, toasters, mahogany tables, I'd have been all over it.
Yeah. Really quick. Hey, Prof, can you look wistfully into the light just for a moment? In the arms of an angel, anyway, slow band.
For $3 a day. For $3 a day. You can help. You can help this
starving wrestling.
Wait, hang on. You gotta do it like this. Wait, keep talking, Mike. Go ahead, do it again.
For $3 a day, you could send your support to help these wrestling fans not only find food, but also learn how to use soap and water sometimes. And on top of that, give them sunscreen for when they burn themselves for not wearing a hat in the sun. I am Sarah McLaughlin. We have a good time here. That's my co-host. I'm going to go with my turn. I also give this a solid 8.5. The FTW match could probably have been taken out of here and I would have been fine with it, but everything else was fantastic. Even Willow and Julia's match I thought was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to Mercedes and Willow at Double or Nothing. I hope Willow gets to keep it, but we shall see what happens with that. Will and Danielson had the baller match of the whole entire night. I'm adding it to my favorite matches. I gave this an 8.5, and I'm going to say that for me personally, this has been a good weekend of wrestling because I had Dynasty last night. And on Saturday, me and Andrew got a chance to watch TNA Rebellion. Spoiler alert, the review for that comes out tomorrow, but I did give Rebellion a higher grade than Dynasty. But this, honestly, over the last couple pay-per-views we had for AEW, I think this is probably my favorite of the last 4 or 5 that we've watched. And that, World's End and Revolution and you know, Full Gear has a special place in my heart because I was there live and in person. So that one was fun, but solid 8.5. Gentlemen, we made it through another pay-per-view review. But on top of that, we made it through the month of April because this is the last pay-per-view of April. We're done. We've hit the end.
Like,
We've covered
12?
six. We covered 6
of those?
pay-per-views. We covered 6 pay-per-views in the span of 4.5 weeks. We are done, but fret not because we might be putting the machine on pause for a little bit, but we're going to be tuning up the band once again because in 2 short weeks, you are going to first find myself and Will and Andrew reviewing TNA's Under Siege pay-per-view. But more importantly, Adolfo will be tagging out, but Professor and I will be tag teaming us two and Minnie and Luis in as we are covering WWE's Backlash in 2 weeks as well. It's gonna be craziness from France, no less.
Oui, oui. Le croissant de wrestling.
So before we anger an entire nation,
I'm sorry.
It's
sorry.
okay.
I love you all. I'm just.
So
We're
I
gonna get up
actually have a streak of 709 days on Duolingo.
We are
and
going
my-
to get up
my
on out of
French
here.
is not very good.
So from all the AEW boys to everyone else there on the internet's lands, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more pay-per-view reviews. But
Billy
until
Stark's
then,
outro.
sayonara.